Welcome back to another in our series of great chapters in the Bible. Our chapter today comes from the Old Testament prophet Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 29. I know the plans I have for you. These are the words of the letter that Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem to the surviving elders of the exiles and to the priests, the prophets, and all the people, whom Nebuchadnezzar had taken into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. This was after King Jeconiah and the queen mother, the eunuchs, the officials of Judah and Jerusalem, the craftsmen and the metalworkers had departed from Jerusalem. The letter was sent by the hand of Elasah, the son of Shaphan, and Gemariah, the son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah, king of Judah, sent to Babylon to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. It said, "Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, to all the exiles whom I have sent into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon, build houses and live in them, plant gardens and eat their produce. Take wives and have sons and daughters. Take wives for your sons and give your daughters in marriage, that they may bear sons and daughters. Multiply there, and do not decrease. But seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf. For in its welfare you will find your welfare. For thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, do not let your prophets and your diviners who are among you deceive you, and do not listen to the dreams that they dream. For it is a lie that they are prophesying to you in my name. I did not send them, declares the Lord. For thus says the Lord, when 70 years are completed for Babylon, I will visit you, and I will fulfill to you my promise, and bring you back to this place. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare, and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Then you will call upon me, and come and pray to me, and I will hear you. You will seek me, and find me, when you seek me with all your heart. I will be found by you, declares the Lord, and I will restore your fortunes, and gather you from all the nations, and all the places where I have driven you, declares the Lord, and I will bring you back to the place from which I sent you into exile. Because you have said, the Lord has raised up prophets for us in Babylon. Thus says the Lord concerning the king who sits on the throne of David, and concerning all the people who dwell in this city, your kinsmen, who did not go out with you into exile. Thus says the Lord of hosts, behold, I am sending on them sword, famine, and pestilence, and I will make them like vile figs that are so rotten they cannot be eaten. I will pursue them with sword, famine, and pestilence, and will make them a horror to all the kingdoms of the earth, to be a curse, a terror, a hissing, and a reproach among all the nations where I have driven them. Because they did not pay attention to my words, declares the Lord, that I persistently sent to you by my servants the prophets. But you would not listen, declares the Lord. Hear the word of the Lord, all you exiles whom I sent away from Jerusalem to Babylon. Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, concerning Ahab the son of Kolaiah, and Zedekiah the son of Maaseiah, who are prophesying to you a lie in my name. Behold, I will deliver them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and he shall strike them down before your eyes. Because of them, this curse shall be used by all the exiles from Judah in Babylon. The Lord make you like Zedekiah and Ahab, whom the king of Babylon roasted in the fire, because they have done an outrageous thing in Israel. They have committed adultery with their neighbors' wives, and they have spoken in my name lying words that I did not command them. I am the one who knows, and I am witness, declares the Lord. To Shemaiah of Neelam, you shall say, thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, you have sent letters in your name to all the people who were in Jerusalem, and to Zephaniah the son of Maaseiah, the priest, and to all the priests, saying, the Lord has made you priests instead of Jehoiada, the priest, to have charge in the house of the Lord over every madman who prophesies, to put him in stocks and neck irons. Now, why have you not rebuked Jeremiah of Anathoth, who is prophesying to you? For he is sent to us in Babylon, saying, your exile will be long. Build houses and live in them, and plant gardens and eat their produce. Zephaniah the priest read this letter in the hearing of Jeremiah the prophet. Then the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah. Send to all the exiles, saying, thus says the Lord concerning Shemaiah of Neelam, because Shemaiah had prophesied to you when I did not send him, and has made you trust a lie. Therefore, thus says the Lord, behold, I will punish Shemaiah of Neelam and his descendants. He shall not have anyone living among his people. And he shall not see the good that I will do to my people, declares the Lord, for he has spoken rebellion against the Lord. If I had had my way at the time, I would have skipped all the calisthenics, all the running, all the uncomfortable parts of physical education classes, and only played games. We would play dodgeball most of the time, and when I got tired of playing that, we would play basketball, and I would never sit the bench. Then we would play some other game that was fun. All that exercising and activities designed to develop agility, muscle tone, skills, and the like made me sore and tired. Push-ups, sit-ups, sprints, squats. The reality, though, is I wish I'd done a few more of those at the time. I might have avoided the health problems that I'm beginning to develop now. I can appreciate more fully what my teachers were trying to do. All that time, I didn't realize they were only trying to help me, not punish me. Well, such can be said for a whole host of areas in life, whether it's physical education or math skills or history or so on in school, or chores or working or job training and more. The earlier periods of training seemed arduous and tedious and, well, rather useless. We just can't see the benefit. But those trying to teach us, train us, and lead us, they know better. Our chapter today deals with the stubbornness of the Jews to accept the punishment God has inflicted on the people by sending them to Babylon. They had hope against hope that they would be rescued from the adversary, just as they had been for centuries by the hand of God. Over and over, God had brought them back from the brink of destruction, from the likes of the Egyptians in Egypt as Moses brought them out, from all those catastrophes in the days of the judges, from the Philistines, the Ammonites, the Syrians, the Moabites, the Egyptians again, and now the Babylonians. Surely God will rescue us as before, but no more. Remember that passage from 2 Chronicles chapter 36, verses 15 and 16? The Lord, the God of their fathers, sent persistently to them by his messengers, because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place. But they kept mocking the messengers of God, despising his words and scoffing at his prophets, until the wrath of the Lord rose against his people, until there was no remedy. They must, once and for all, feel the hand of God against them. But it's not for destruction's sake. It's not for their annihilation. While the verse we're going to look at is often seen and quoted as it pertains to our daily lives currently, but when Jeremiah speaks this in Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and hope." It is, in its strictest sense, directed squarely at Judah, and Judah alone. The sentiment is without a doubt for all mankind and has been since creation. However, it is for Judah alone the command to carry on their lives there in Babylon. As much as they want to believe against all hope that the Lord will immediately overthrow their enemies, it simply will not happen. Therefore, God desires that they shall settle in for the long haul, as they say. Not only to build houses and plant gardens and eat its produce, but also to marry, raise children, that they may raise their children after them. Here is perhaps the most challenging aspect in verse 7. "But seek the welfare of the city where I've sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf, for in its welfare you will find your welfare." What an incredibly hard pill to swallow. It is no less than what we're asked to do today. Consider what Paul wrote in 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 1 and 2. "First of all, then, I urge that supplications, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgivings be made for all people, for kings and all who are in high positions, that we may lead a peaceful and quiet life, godly and dignified in every way." When you think of it, God has asked, yes, required, some pretty tough things of us. But are they unfair or harsh? Or has he all along known the plans he has had for us for a future and a hope? Consider these commands and see if there is a future and a hope in them. In Luke 6:27, "But I say to you who hear, love your enemies and do good to those who hate you." Or when Paul says in Galatians 6:2, "Bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ." Or 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 16, "Rejoice always." As the old spiritual song tells us, heaven will surely be worth it all. Don't you think? And Lord willing, Let's meet here again tomorrow and look at another of the great chapters in the Bible.